Alrighty, welcome to the Getting Technical podcast with your host Toxic, which is myself. Really excited to get this rolling. This is the first episode, and I'll just kind of quickly go around what I will be doing in this new little series I'm starting for the 5 people that are probably going to view this. So basically, this is going to be a daily 10 to 15 minute rundown of college basketball, yesterday's recaps, as well as today's upcoming games, and then finally the bets for this evening or for the day of the podcast. So we'll just get into a quickly little background of the podcast. Obviously, I'm a huge football guy, Michigan fan, bet a lot of football, but here we are. Basketball is starting. Football is winding down. So we're trying to get. I'm trying to get into the basketball realm. Producing more content on college basketball, and no better way than to quickly go over this in a podcast. So a little bit about the name, Getting Technical. Obviously, I'm kind of a statistics, stats guy. I like following the math, following the odds. So that's kind of playing into the technical talk. But more personally, technical, back when I used to play basketball, never made it on varsity in high school because I quit and decided to bowl. But that was probably due to I was a terrible basketball player, but I hustled a lot and usually got very angry. I played hard, but since I am unable to control my emotions, I got numerous technicals. Technical fouls, got kicked out of games, flagrant ones, flagrant twos, suspended for games. My dad used to be my coach. We would both get technicals and, ejected. So I thought it was just a kind of a funny play on words. Obviously, we're tuning into the math side and then tuning into the emotional side of my technicals back when I used to play high school basketball. So I thought that was kind of funny. So moving on, we'll go into the recap of yesterday's games. There weren't too many important games yesterday, but there were a couple really bad beats where underdogs won. Moving on to the future, we'll probably get into more in depth of the ranked games or the big games that occurred. But this early in the season, there's really not that many ranked matchups besides tonight, which we'll get into. But there were 4 really big upsets last night that we will briefly point out. So first of all, Florida State decided to lose to Troy. Florida State was a 9.5 point favorite entering the game. They ended up losing the game by 7, and Troy was a plus 400 money line. Florida State has now gone to 0-3 on the season. Again, it's still early, a lot can happen, but not a great start for the Seminoles. Great win from Troy. That's a really big win playing at Florida State, winning the game by 7 after being a 9.5 point dog. I'm sure any plus 400 underdog bettors of Troy are feeling pretty good today. But again, who's going to project that or predict that? I have no idea. But it happens, I guess. So that was the 4th worst beat of the day. Moving on to number 3, we had also in the state of Florida. Florida lost to Florida Atlantic by 2 points. Florida opened the game at a 12.5 point favorite and then lost the game by 2. Florida Atlantic was a plus 570 odds to win the game. So again, pretty big payout there. If you can predict these college basketball upsets and underdogs, you're going to be a very, very wealthy man. But I'm really finding it very hard to predict. Again, really early in the season, but this Florida team, it looks like they're 2-1. Still a really bad loss in-state opponent. Should probably try to figure out how to turn it around for the upcoming SEC play, but I think they still have some time to figure it out. Moving on, we have 2 really bad beats. The second bad beat we have was Boston College losing to Maine by 5. Now, Boston College opened the game at a 20-point favorite. 20 points. So Vegas was projecting Boston College to win the game by 20. They ended up losing by 5. Maine odds to win the game are plus 1,400. I did see on Twitter someone did take Maine in this game, and they just cashed out a plus $1,400 or plus 1,400 odds ticket, and that would be a beautiful way to start your Monday. Really bad play from Boston College here. They've struggled. I think I don't think they've covered in their first 2 games, and then obviously losing this game bad as a 20-point favorite. That's hard to come up from. They got to figure something out up in Boston. But, hats off to Maine. Really good win. And then the biggest news and biggest upset of the day was Northwestern State beating 15th ranked TCU. TCU was a 23.5-point favorite in this game. Northwestern State's odds to win this game outright were plus 1,700. I don't even know where Northwestern State is. I don't know what state it is. I don't even know what side of the Mississippi it's on. I have no idea where this team is located. North, south, no idea. But I do know they beat TCU, a ranked TCU, at TCU, and just cashed out plus 1,700. That's an unreal play. Really crazy that this little tiny school just knocked out TCU. This is very alarming for a TCU team that is ranked to lose to an opponent this badly this early in the season. I guess I didn't lose that badly, but it's a bad loss. Again, a lot can happen in basketball. It's not the end of the world losing 1 or 2 or 3 games, but it is the end of the world if you continue losing games to really, really bad opponents. Again, gotta give Northwestern State the credit here. They got the win, and they deserved it. So hats off to them. Moving on today, we do have the Champions Classic. So this is a really big 4-team game, or 4 teams are playing tonight. 3 of them are perennial champions, it seems like. And then we have Michigan State. Michigan State is notorious for scheduling these really, really hard beginning of the season games. Something that I really wish, as a Michigan fan, I really wish Michigan would do. I just think it gives the guys a lot of experience moving forward for the rest of the season. Some confidence, I guess, or like if they get blown out, it says, wow, we have a lot of work to do. So I think it's really smart on Tom Izzo's half to schedule these. And we have a pretty good matchup today. In the first game, we have Kentucky, number 4 ranked Kentucky versus Michigan State. Again, going back to that champions thing, Michigan State technically is the most recent Big Ten team to win a national championship back in 2000. Maryland did win, I think, in 2003, but they weren't part of the Big Ten then. So I guess when you're talking about it, Michigan State is the most recent Big Ten champion, so I guess they deserve to be in it. But not to say that Michigan has gone to 2 national championship games in the past 6 years, but haven't won, obviously. So Michigan State and Kentucky will be a really good game. Currently, Michigan State is a 7-point underdog. And I'll get into my bets real quick after this next game. The bigger game of the evening is at 9:30 tonight, and that is between 7th-ranked Duke and 6th-ranked Kansas. The reigning national champ, Kansas, they're looking pretty good. They're kind of getting a little disrespected at number 6. And then Duke, obviously they lost Coach K, legendary Coach K. They have this, I forget his name, but his first year, they do have the best recruiting class. I think they have 3 of the top 5 recruits. They have 4 total 5 stars. They just reload like no other team. They reload like Kentucky used to reload back in the day. It's Duke, though. Duke just reloads. That's what they do. The real question in tonight's game, and Duke is a 2-point favorite, which is a little weird, in my opinion. Duke is a 2-point favorite with a new coach playing reigning national champions, and they are pretty much full of young, new freshmen, sophomores. It's a young team. So let's just get into the bets and what I got here. So for the Champions Classic, I'm going to start off, and I'm going to take UK money line, Kentucky money line over Michigan State. I really wanted to take Kentucky -7 here. I was just a little bit worried that, State just lost Gonzaga on that aircraft carrier earlier this week by 1 point. Michigan State just plays games close. I do think they're going to get blown out tonight. I do think Kentucky's going to win by double digits. But I just played it safe and took Kentucky money line. I think that's a really safe play. I also would probably lean the under in this game just because State plays teams close. I know Kentucky's scoring a lot this season, but they haven't really faced anyone, or they haven't faced anyone really. So I do like the under in this game if that's something you wanted to do. And then finally, we got Kansas. I'm going to take Kansas money line over Duke. They're +2. It's +110. Again, not a huge underdog, but I just like my odds with Kansas better. They're better coached. They have the experience. I know they lost quite a bit of guys in the national championship. They are bringing back a couple, and they did get a pretty big transfer. So I just like Kentucky, or I like Kansas over Duke. I think Duke is very talented, but I just think they're very young. I'm not sure if they will have the experience or what it takes to play this Kansas team who has proven that they can win it all. So I really like Kansas here. Together, I parlayed these two. Together, it is plus 185. You could probably get that up to, plus 300, plus 275 if you want to take Kentucky -7. I just played it safe here. I think plus 185 is still relatively good odds. And I really think Kentucky's going to win this game by 10 points, and then I think Kansas is going to squeak it out too. It's probably going to be a closer game in Kansas-Duke, but I can see Kansas also winning by double digits late in the game. And then we have two more plays tonight that I'll give you. So we are working on a system play. I'm not going to I'm not going to share my system yet. There's only been 12 games, so it's not a huge data patch, but we have 12 out of the 12 games. It's hit 9 out of 12 at 75%. So we have two games tonight that fit that system. First up, we have Florida International versus NC State. We have the under of 154 in that game. And then the second game we have is Colgate versus Syracuse at the under of 152. I did not parlay these, but they both fit our system model. So that's what we're rolling with, and I don't really have any explanation on these plays. I don't really know these teams. I don't know the star players. I don't know the defensive percentages, the offensive efficiencies. I don't really know that thing. I'm just following the 75% odds because that's much better than my stupid brain can do at 50-50. So we're going to follow this. Again, I think I only am doing half units on these system plays until it's proven to be reliable. So we're going to wait maybe another week or two before we go to a full unit on these system plays if it continues to excel. But two system plays there, and then that parlay tonight in the Champions Classic is what I got for college basketball. Hopefully you enjoyed this quick show. Maybe we can get some guest hosts on. But yeah, I'm excited for tonight. Hopefully we can go 3-0 in our bets. That parlay would be lovely if it hit. And then hopefully our system continues to perform. Good luck, good scores, and Godspeed.